Joining me now is criminal defence attorney Page Pate to talk more about this. Thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us. Now, we know at this point Bill Cosby is on $1 million bail, so he is free at this point, and his defence attorneys have said that they will mount a vigorous defence on his behalf. Given what we know, some 50 or so women all sharing pretty much the same story of being drugged and then being raped, how difficult will it be for the defence if those women's stories are allowed in? That's the critical question, isn't it?
I think it is the critical question, and I think it will be incredibly difficult for him to defend himself against these charges if the judge allows the jury to hear about all these other women who are making a very similar type accusation against him. So the main challenge for the defense is let's keep out those other accusations. And it's possible. Under Pennsylvania law, they don't automatically come in. The prosecutor will have to show that those accusations are so similar to this accusation that they help prove intent or some other element of the crime.
Right, so that is going to be the key point here.
Right.
And we don't know what's going to happen.
We do not know.
Can we assume, though, if they've gone this far, that presumably they do intend to admit
I'm certain
the other stories?
I'm certain that the prosecutor wants to admit them, so what will probably happen is the defense will file a motion and challenge the admission of those other accusations. The judge will hold a hearing prior to trial and will make the determination of whether or not they come in.
Now, what about the issue of consent? Because it's very different when you're looking at the possibility or the alleged drugging of Andrea Constance. So if she's been drugged, then she can't put up the same sort of resistance. So what happens when you're talking about consent in that situation?
Well, in most sexual assault cases, consent is usually the ultimate issue. And especially in a case like this, where Mr. Cosby, back at the time he was initially investigated for this accusation and in these depositions, he already admitted to the sexual contact. He admitted to giving her pills. The only issue is whether she went along with it. And in proving a lack of consent, the state will have to show that she was intoxicated, she was out of her mind, she was drugged, she was put in a position where she could not either verbally or physically resist his advances. If they can prove that, then they can prove a lack of consent.
And just very quickly, if you had to choose as to whether you would be the defense or the prosecutor in this situation, which do you think would be the easier path?
It would be the defense unless those other accusations come in. If those other accusations come in, it's going to be very difficult to defend this case.
Page Pate, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.